Very well, we have time for one more story, and this story is titled A Crow for All Seasons. It goes like this. Early to bed and early to rise makes a crow healthy, wealthy, and wise. They say it's true for humans too. I'm not so sure about that, but for crows, it's a must. I'm always up at the crack of dawn, often the first crow to break the night's silence with a lusty caw. My friends and relatives who roost in the same tree grumble a bit and mutter to themselves, but they are soon cawing just as loudly. Long before the sun is up, we set off on the day's work. We do not pause even for the morning wash. Later in the day, if it's hot and muggy, I may take a dip in some human's bath water. But early in the morning, we like to be up and about before everyone else. This is the time when trash cans and refuse dumps are overflowing with goodies, and we like to sift through them before the dustmen arrive in their disposal trucks. Not that we are afraid of a famine in refuse. As human beings multiply, so does their rubbish. Only yesterday, I rescued an old typewriter ribbon from the dustbin, just before it was emptied. What a waste that would have been! I had no use for use of it. I had new sorry, I had no use for it myself, but I gave it to one of my cousins who got married recently, and she tells me just right for her nest, the one she is building on a telegraph pole. It helps her bind the twigs together, she says. My own preference is for toothbrushes. They are just a hobby, really, like stamp collecting with humans. I have a small but select collection which I keep in a hole in the garden wall. Don't ask me how many I've got. Crows don't believe there's any point in counting beyond two. But I know there's more than one. That there is a whole lot of them, in fact, because there isn't anyone living on this road who hasn't lost a toothbrush to me at some time or the other. So this crow has been picking up toothbrush from everyone. We crows living in the jackfruit tree have this stretch of road to ourselves. But so that we don't quarrel or have misunderstandings, we have shared the houses out. I picked the bungalow with the orchard at the back. After all, I don't eat rubbish and throwaways all the time. Just occasionally, I like a ripe guava or the soft flesh of a papaya. And sometimes I I like the old beetle as a horse yours. That is maybe special item. Those humans in the bungalows should be grateful to me for keeping down the population of fruit eating beetles and even for recycling their refuse. But no, humans are never grateful. No wonder, no sooner do I settle in one of their guava trees than stones are whizzing past me. So I return to the dustbin on the back veranda steps. They don't mind my being there. One of my cousins shares a bungalow with me, but he's a lazy fellow and I have to do most of the foraging. Sometimes I get him to lend me a claw, but most of the time he's preening his feathers and trying to look handsome for a pretty young thing who lives in the banyan tree at the next turning. When he is in the mood, he can be invaluable, as he proved recently when I was having some difficulty getting at the dog's food on the veranda. This dog, who is fussed over so much by the humans I've adopted, is a great big fellow, a mastiff who pretends to pedigree going back to the time of Genghis Khan. He likes to pretend one of his ancestors was the great Khan's watchdog. But as often happens in famous families, animal or human, there is a falling off in quality over a period of time. And the huge fellow, Tiger, they call him, is a case in point. All brawn and no brain. Many is the time I've removed a juicy bone from his plate or helped myself to pickings from under his nose. But of late, he has been growing canny and selfish. He doesn't like to share anymore. And the other day, I was almost in his jaws when he took a sudden lunge at me. Snap went his great teeth, but all he got was one of my tail feathers. He spat it out in disgust. Who wants a crow's meat anyway? He said. All the same, I thought I'd better not be too careless. It's not for nothing that a crow's IQ is way above that of all other birds, and it's higher than a dog's, I bet. I woke cousin Slow from his midday siesta and said, Hey Slow, we got a problem. If you want any of the delicious tripe today, you got to lend a claw or a beak. That dog's getting snappier day by day. Slow opened one eye and said, Well, if you insist, but you know how I hate getting into a scuffle. It's bad for the gloss on my feathers. Sorry, I'll continue later.